How is Tank 700 on-road and off-road? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dimitri, this is Value Cars Australia, and today we are translating another review from the same, my favorite, my childhood favorite automotive magazine, За рулем from Russia, where they are taking a second look at Tank 700 that's just been announced and just rolling out on their market. It's an amazing vehicle. We have already translated the first impressions, but the car was static. No one was driving it. The person was sitting in it, telling us a lot about specifications, dimensions, that kind of stuff. If you've missed that video, please do yourself a favor and watch it, because I'm not going to repeat much anyway in this one. And in this one, we're focusing on the on-road experience. How does it drive, really? What its driving modes feel like? How is it on a light off-road? Please don't correct me, because we have seen heavy off-road in also translated videos of Tank 300 a year or so ago, and that was full on. This is not it. And if something like this presents itself, rest assured I am going to translate it, because I'm very interested myself. But in this one, light off-road, on-road experience, very honest impressions. Again, different reviewer, same automotive magazine, but different reviewer. It's going to be interesting, going to be really good. So let's jump straight into the translated review. Please enjoy, give the video a like, and don't forget about checking out our sponsors first. This video is sponsored by findaloan.com.au, new service providing you with access to low-interest loans with flexible repayment options, including car loans, business loans, personal loans, home loans, and more. Check out the link in the description for fast and easy application form if you need a loan quickly. I've spoken to the people at findaloan.com.au, and I'm personally considering to use their service right now to refinance a loan on my current car. So perhaps this service is right for you too. Check them out. Tank 700 features entirely new design and doesn't look anything like Tank 300 or 500. Competing in its own category and appealing to an entirely different buyer, which makes it very interesting on its own. Another interesting thing that our reviewer Alex is pointing out for us here is that if we look at Tank 500, it looks actually larger than it really is, while with Tank 700 somehow it's entirely the opposite. You look at it from the distance and it doesn't shock you with its dimensions, but you come closer and it looks absolutely massive and very imposing. Go figure. With over 5 meters in length, 2 meters in width and height, and 3 tons of weight, it's a real tank, which also has impressive pneumatic suspension that can change the clearance of the vehicle from as low as 19 centimeters to as high as 35 centimeters, designed for serious off-roading. This on-road and off-road test was performed on the stock petrol version of this Tank 700 and not the fancy full hybrid edition one that we've taken a look at last time. I personally don't care as much as I prefer the rugged look and feel of this particular model, not the polished surfaces of edition 1. But that's obviously a matter of taste. Alex starts by describing the massive interior space and variety of fancy features of Tank 700, but we've all heard it before. I didn't forget, so we won't waste our time today on this, and I'll fast forward past this segment to the actual on and off-road impressions that you've clicked on this video for, my friend. The first thing that Alex notices as he drives Tank 700 along a serpentine road in what looks like northern Caucasus region of Russia is how quiet it is inside. His speed is right now close to 100 kilometers an hour, and he says that it is just unbelievably quiet. No engine noise, no real noise from massive off-road kind of capable 20-inch tires. You would expect them to make a noise, and no wind noise regardless of this brick-style aerodynamics design. За рулем reviewed plenty of premium-priced China-made cars, like pretty good ones, but very rarely, he says, Alex here, that they've seen such level of double-glazed windows, very thick stock standard sound insulation that clearly is applied here, which once again, for the last time, is incredibly impressive. There are 2 engine versions available for Tank 700 in Russia. Top of the range is V6 turbo petrol engine plus electric motor, both of which add up to the output of 514 horsepower, which is rather crazy. And then there is this petrol version, base one, of 3-liter V6 turbo petrol engine that pumps out 354 horsepower, which is, if I remember correctly, actually comparable to what I used to have under the bonnet of my good old Jeep Wrangler Golden Eagle that I sold during COVID years like a freaking idiot. But we won't go back to that ranty story I told you about on my channel, in case you missed it. Alex points out that while the engine architecture here is based on that of Tank 500, GWM clearly improved and refined the engine and the settings here as it accelerates better, doesn't feel erratic like Tank 500 sometimes felt to them during their on-road tests. So here in Tank 700 they don't get that feeling. It is a much smoother ride in engine performance, acceleration and handling on the road that we'll review a little further in this video. Alex also talks about the pleasant feeling of driving a vehicle that clearly has more to give, so to speak. So if you push the accelerator pedal just a bit further down, there is more power to where it came from, under the bonnet. So you can overtake when you need to very, very quickly. Incredibly capable, super strong vehicle performance here. It's a massive off-roader, so one feature worthy of talking about here are apparently 12? Yes, 12 different driving modes. Yep, standard, eco, sport, snow, mud, sand, too many if you ask me. But hey, I wouldn't complain if I could drive this beauty around Australia. Tank 700 handles much better because of their very first heavy 4x4 being built on a frame without a solid rear axle. Yes, you heard it right. Now both the front and rear wheels have independent suspension in Tank 700. Additional mention here is that pneumatic suspension that we've already admired, which deserves an extra compliment here when the car handles just so incredibly well on a straight line as well as in sharp kind of corners of this serpentine road that Alex is driving along. He keeps gushing on about how unbelievably easy it is to steer this literal tank on wheels that weighs almost 3 tons. He says he could expect this steering response from, I don't know, a light crossover city car, but not from this behemoth on wheels, which apparently feels amazing, and you can see just the excitement on his face, which I am very jealous of and happy for any potential owners of Tank 700. Well, time to finally go off-road and see how Tank 700 performs. This is what you would call very light off-road, of course, if you saw some earlier translations of pretty hardcore off-road tests that some of the Russian enthusiasts did on Tank 300. I've translated those for you. It's very popular videos. Go check it out in case you haven't seen them. But this is not something like that. When you enable lower gear ratio to enter serious off-roading mode, Tank 700 automatically lifts its suspension to the highest available level of 35 centimeters or thereabouts, and I presume that you can change that default setting to whatever you want. There is a billion of those settings there apparently in the infotainment cluster, and we've been shown some of them in the previously translated video. Alex isn't enabling diff locks during this test because evidently this is not a very serious off-roading, mud digging kind of exercise. Alex points out here that there are obviously no issues from the power perspective and high seating position, driver position, the geometry of the vehicle. It can handle this terrain like very easily. Other than these off-road capable and rather large but stock tires that are not particularly appropriate for even this level of sort of slightly slippery and wet mud digging, as like he says to us here, he kind of doesn't feel the grip. The tires are slipping. There is enough power, of course the tank makes its way through, but it seems like it's putting a lot more effort than it should with all these characteristics and all this geometry and everything else that Great Wall Motor put under the bonnet and into the rest of the structure of this very impressive vehicle. So you would need different tires. Point is, you would need different tires if you want to off-road on this vehicle. So let's summarize this quick off and on-road test. Alex says that the only problem that he sees with this vehicle is its price. I actually will not mention it here, and I will not translate the Russian rubles price to you in this particular video, as I've done this in previous ones, and the feedback that I've received and lack of interest that I've received shows to me that it's irrelevant. Understandably, it's irrelevant to you. I think it will be expensive. If it comes to Australia, of course it will be expensive. However, it will be vastly cheaper than Mercedes Geländewagen or variety of Toyotas, even Toyota Land Cruiser 300 Sahara, something like that. You could, for this kind of money that it currently costs in Russia, I will only tell you that you can buy right now there a couple of very nice but slightly less fancy off-road capable China-made vehicles. Yeah, so it is quite a trade-off. You have to be very well off even in Russia to buy something like this these days, and trust me, there are plenty of people who probably would.
car prices there are exorbitant. And yeah, some of it can obviously have something to do with Chinese monopoly on the vehicle supplying to Russia. I understand it perfectly well, even if it's not China-made vehicles, but something like Toyota or Volkswagen imported via China. But that's a story for another time, maybe. If you're interested, do let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. This is where we're gonna wrap up, my friends. I really enjoyed translating this video for you, and thanks to my amazing childhood memory and childhood favorite automotive magazine «За рулем». Спасибо, ребята, за контент. Несу в массы самое светлое и лучшее от вас. So thanks again, my friends. Subscribe for more from me. Next week we're going to be talking about something else. Guess what? Value cars related in Australia. Before you leave, don't forget to visit our sponsors. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.